So, yeah, for me, this is a really important exhibition because it's the first time that this group of works that examines in a way that balances mass and space, a condition of spatial organization that hasn't actually been very familiar to us for very long. Now, it's called firmament. What does firmament mean? Firmament is the ancient name for the sky. In a way, an ancient name for that part of space which is cosmic. And the ancient way of familiarizing themselves with fixed points in the universe was to give them constellation names. Cassiopeia, Ursus Major, Ursus Minor. And I like this idea of, in a sense, we feel, I think there's a part of us that feels anxious when we think about space, when we think about the indeterminacy of space, the fact that we don't know the edge condition of our cosmic context. And we try to project onto it something that we do know, like a bear or a plow. And here, what I've done is I've tried inside here to indicate a human space within this evocation. To go back to the general thesis, within this space that you have to move through by modifying a little bit your motion, there is another space. A space I'd like you to come in. Within this space, there is another space. It's a cave. Or anyway, it's a void. It's a void space in this space at large. And I think that the extraordinary thing, certainly in relation to, for example, spin within these microparticles of the atom, we know that these are responsive to the observer. So there's a kind of collapse of the observer and observed, and I'm trying to, in some way, evoke that here by allowing you as the subject, as the observer, as the viewer, to enter into this field and become part of this, in a way, relational field. What more is there to say? This is bubble geometry. You can see it most clearly against the walls where these polyhedra, which are the polyhedra that are created when you can imagine soap bubbles pushed together, they form tetrahedral nodes with always 4 elements coming together. We've cheated a bit in some places, but on the whole, each of these has 4 elements coming into a single node. And somehow this, I think, revolution in our understanding of the constitution of the physical universe, I believe, is very close to sculpture. This is the same geometry as we were just looking at. So, nesting polyhedra with 3-part element vertices on the surface. And in that construction, there would be another polyhedra coming in here that has been removed. And that would describe the surface condition of this domain. So here is a materialization of the void space, the cave space in firmament. So I'm thinking of calling this one maybe geode. A geode is a condensation of mineral deposit within a void, often in limestone, where you get this kind of crystalline precipitation. But what I like about this is it's very quiet. It's kind of a body withdrawn into itself. It refers, for me, also to these cyst burials. Ancient burials in Neolithic times, often within stone chambers, where in some senses the body is placed ritually on its journey of re-assimilation. In this room we have something very different. Suddenly no mass at all. The first room was bubble geometry, but it had quite a lot of mass, weighs 3 tons. This weighs 3 kilos. And yet again, it's the same geometry, the same polyhedral. You can see these are all dodecahedrons, just lightly linked, that also, in some way, indicate the place of a body that is just falling. You'll find the body made again upstairs. I don't know if you've seen it. Have you been upstairs? Hanging from the ceiling by the lift. There is the same body, but more defined, and with this structure identifying the internal condition. So the inner condition within the skin. And this is a condition described from outside the skin. And that's called drift, and this is called cumulus. And this is maybe the most abstract work of all. In the core of this there is again a body form, fetal, very compressed, that is being expanded out, and you have this sense of an emergent structure that is like a cloud. Clouds are extraordinary things because they are, in a way, form, but also formless, and they change all the time. This is called core, and you could say, well, this is a reference to the fall. The fall. What is the fall? The fall, I think, is a mythological equivalent of an acknowledgement about gravity. So the idea of fall from grace, in religious terms, I would like to replace with the idea of what is our relationship with gravity? To what extent does mass and our experience of embodiment depend on gravity? So here's, in a way, an abstract body released from appearance, articulated by, in a sense, a common geometry which is both aleatoric but precise, that allows space to pass through it. It's completely porous, but at the same time it kind of links. So we have here only 3 complete polyhedra. This one, this small one, and this one. All the rest, when they reach the skin condition, their vertices disappear and their tiles disappear, and you just get an openness. But the extraordinary way is the way that these, they're like hands grasping at space at large. So if my purpose, or if the reason or the motivation for my work is to try to make a link between the space that I am in now, with my eyes closed, in a place that is embodied, and space at large, perhaps I've done it here in the most open way, insofar as there is an absolute connection and an absolute, when I call it aperture, it means open. This was in a way the breakthrough work. Trying to find a way of treating the body as a space that is not limited by its skin. The idea of bringing the body back into art, it can't be just a continuation of Rodin. We don't want to put the body to work, but we want to examine, in a way, what the body means in terms of the human condition and as the basis for consciousness. And for me, it's about trying to work on the body from inside and from trying to work on the body as an open space. And I mean that not just in terms of maybe this work as a perceptual kind of model of the open body, but also as an open space, meaning an open mind. The Tibetans talk about the sky nature of mind. I think that's a beautiful phrase. Mind or consciousness has no limits. And I think in terms of how art connects with human evolution, or you could say evolution generally, the relationship between thought and, say, the geological conditions of our existence, the elemental foundations of our existence. Maybe consciousness is an open state, and maybe art can be an instrument whereby that potential of consciousness to be an open state can be realized or helped along its way.